Before I start, around a third of you who have subscribed to this channel did so after the last two videos on my use of OpenAI's Codex. I don't want to mislead you into thinking this is going to be that kind of operation. It isn't. So, please unsubscribe now if you were thinking that you just want to learn more about AI tools and whatever. I'm unlikely to do anything about that again for the foreseeable future. Good afternoon. This is just going to be a lot of quick updates on things I previously promised to answer. So I'll play the intro music on this PLA guitar. You might get the impression from that a PLA guitar works like I had hoped it would. Sadly, that's not the case. There's a phenomenon known as creep in plastics where they never stop deforming. And unfortunately, even with this infill pattern that I'd hoped was going to be strong enough to resist that, we have really severe creep going on in this guitar. Over the course of a few months, this guitar lost 2 semitones plus on across most of the strings in terms of tuning, and my next worst guitar lost less than a semitone in that same time period. So as well as that, because the body's deformed, the action is now rather too high. Having started at the low end of what I'm comfortable with, it's now too high. Let me give you just a taste for how much body flex there is now. So that's not me putting a huge amount of force on it, and if I pre-bend it, hopefully that's going to come across how mad it is. It's very unfortunate because this guitar's had rave reviews from everyone who's played it, which is literally just me and Steek, but we're both happy with the ergonomics of it, and the weight was, it's easy one-hander. Not I wouldn't want to try doing that with most of the commercial guitars I own, but unfortunately PLA is not long-term stable enough to be a viable instrument. If you could find a way to deal with the action height changing, I suppose you could use it, but for me that makes it something I don't want to deal with that every time I want to play the guitar. I want something I can pick up and play. Like if it was just going out of tune, that would be fine. The other guitar related thing I want to update you on is on what happened to my Quad Cortex. I did send it off to NeuralDSP out of warranty. They have chosen to replace it at no cost to me, presumably because it's a real problem and they actually want to analyze it or something. I didn't ask too many questions. If someone's going to give me a new device in exchange for an old broken one, I'm not going to complain at all. If your question was, will NeuralDSP look after their customers, so far my answer at least is yes. The new unit is not affected by the problem I originally had, so it's clearly not a firmware thing or a systemic across the whole range thing. I will say also that the tuner in the replacement seems to work better than the tuner in the previous one, to the point where I'm now happy to use it and not have to go through my Peterson strobe tuner. I research what I want to buy, I buy it, I learn how to use it at that point in time, and I carry on using it, and I don't go and relearn how to use it as the firmware changes typically. But as I got the new unit and then realized I'd forgotten to upload some of my presets to the cloud, so I had to recreate them. If I'm going to do the work again, let me just think about how I should do this with the new firmware, not how I did do it with the previous firmware. And somewhat to my embarrassment, there's a lot of things now that just are going to work better for me than the presets I had before. So a preset that I had before that used to use all 4 rails, I can now do in 1 row, which is quite good. I don't even think I'm using features from the last 2 firmware updates. I'm probably using features that were introduced a few months after I bought the thing, but I just never relearned it. I'm happy with the service I got from NeuralDSP. I'm very happy, and I'm very happy with the unit again. With that link to audio interfaces in general, all of my audio interface patches for the Linux kernel have been merged for kernel 7.1. Some of them are backported to the 6 trees and 7.0 already. So what's coming in 7.1 kernel is the Pod HD Pro driver and the driver for the Arturia Audio Fuse 16 rig. To be very clear, I don't recommend that you purchase either of those audio interfaces. The only one you can purchase new anyway is the 16 rig, and Arturia have been very much not helpful in getting the Linux driver to work. So buy something else. If you're planning to do Linux audio from the off, buy something else. I have not made all of the features of that device work. I can't make all of the features of that device work without documentation that Arturia have declined to give me when I've asked them. So look for something where there's some level of manufacturer support, like even if it's just here's the data sheet, get on with it, is what's been given to someone else. That was what I asked for and I didn't get that. It's a interesting position to be in, to say this thing's going to work now, but still definitely don't buy it. But that's where we are. I was trying to work out which CAD package I would use. Now I've primarily switched to Linux. What I'm using for the moment is SolidWorks in a Windows virtual machine, and I'm running that with hardware acceleration using a Intel Arc B50 Pro. That is, I've made a virtual function, assign that to Windows with half of the VRAM of the card, and SolidWorks recognizes that as a certified Pro card, which of course it should, because it is, and I get full hardware acceleration in SolidWorks for my things. Currently viewing it through remote desktop, which I didn't expect to work as well as it does. I'm even able to use the Space Mouse, which as far as the Windows machine is concerned is attached by USB, so a local device to the Windows box. I didn't really expect that if I twiddled the Space Mouse on my desk, it would do anything in the virtual desktop, remote desktop window. It does, and that's great because I can interact with SolidWorks in the way I'm used to, and in theory I can reboot into a on the metal Windows and or run it in the VM. In practice, I'm probably going to use it in the VM exclusively from now on, because it's just there to host SolidWorks, and I don't feel like I need to give it the full resources of the machine. That's it for this video. There will probably be a long gap before the next one because it's summer, therefore I can go and play golf